Hey, Justin. So we're here to talk just briefly about our news agency software to give people a sense of what we do and how we do it. You grew up in a news agency.
Yeah, I did. Probably about 6 years old when I first started a news agency. I don't know if that's allowed, but yeah, been in there a long time.
So look, Tower have been in this space for a long time. We've got about 1,750 news agents as customers.
Yeah.
That's close to 2,000 news agents who are actively using our software. What I want to do is show an outcome of using our software before you actually get into showing people what the software can do. So I just want to share very briefly this spreadsheet. Now, there's a whole bunch of numbers on the screen, a whole lot of data there, but this is data from a news agency. They're using our software, and our software data is feeding into this report. And this is a report about their card performance. So we can look at what their card pockets are. We can look at what their pocket turn rate is. We can look at the ratio of space versus sales allocation. But then this is the report that I like a lot, because here is the suggested pocket adjustment. We think, based on the data analysis of what's actually selling in the shop, this shop can increase their high age by 16, increase female by 8, reduce anniversary by 10, reduce baby by 19, down here, reduce get well by 9. In other words, here is very specific card analysis information that this business is able to use to work with their card supplier to adjust pockets. Now, the reason that matters is because when card suppliers supply data to supply products to retailers, they supply it based on what they've been selling to the shop, not based on what the shop has been selling to customers. And news agents can only bank what they're selling to customers. And so we take that sales data out of our point of sale software, out of our news agency software. We can plug it into this spreadsheet that does all of this amazing analysis. And then we can give the news agent the power to be more authoritative and be more clear in their requests of suppliers. So I wanted to start with that to say, when you're looking at Tower, you're not just looking at news agency software. You're looking at decades of experience in helping news agents grow their businesses. And you're looking at the ability to take the data out of the news agency software and feed that into analysis tools like that spreadsheet, where we can produce actionable items that news agents can take, not only with card suppliers, but with other suppliers too.
Yeah, absolutely.
We do a range of things for news agents. You were just going to talk a little bit about some of our integrations that we do.
Yeah, look, well, you talked about, being in the space for many decades. I'll start with this graphic here. Over the time, we've actually developed a lot of, relationships with a lot of these major suppliers. And out of all our industries that we deal with, news agencies, as far as quantity of customer through the counter and through the store, news agencies are very up there, meaning, they're very time poor with a lot of other things, to do with the business. So you look at these three over on the right-hand side, for an example. You look at your cards and wrap, your magazines, and your stationery. In a news agency today, that would probably be, between 70 and 80% of the store just right there. And having that data come into the system electronically saves the business owner a lot of time. And you come over to the left side and you add lotteries and phone cards through that as well. All of a sudden, you've got most of the news agency, around our software here, which basically gives the business owner a lot more time to sort of focus on, products that they might not have necessarily brought into the business before, finding those niche categories that they can sell within the business. So,
and look, on top of that, we've done work with a number of other marketplaces. So we've done work in the cafe space, which has helped news agents run cafe businesses through their shops. We've done work, for example, with authorised firearms dealers, and we have now several news agents selling firearms on an authorised basis through their business, because our software is able to facilitate that for them.
Well, that's it. And, having all these integrations helps, as I said, the business owners look at alternatives to how they diversify their business and move into other products. But just quickly, the lottery stuff in most states will grab the lotto sale from the terminal. Otherwise, we can just scan the lottery barcodes and that brings it straight up. So again, reduces the human error of manually typing in the amount and speeds up the transaction.
Yeah.
You've got your ePay there. So instead of going to a separate ePay terminal, it's all integrated through the point of sale. Obviously, as we spoke about, the cards and wrap coming in electronically, your magazines coming in and going out as well. But then you look at the accounting stuff as well. So we link with, Xero and other accounting packages. So if the business owner was to do that themselves, that would save them, a couple of hours a week for them to put those hours into something else. Or if they're paying a bookkeeper or an accountant to do that work for them, it's obviously saving them, a couple of $100 a week as well. And then you look at the e-commerce integration. So a lot of our news agencies are moving online, and it's really interesting to see, what they're going online with. A couple of years ago, they thought, I just want to completely mirror everything in store and put it online and see what I can do. But it's really fascinating to see the types of businesses online that, without actually knowing it's a news agency, we've got a couple that sell baby products, religious goods, you name it, there's a website for everything, and they're all connected back to our point of sale software. So having that integration again saves them a lot of double handling of constantly managing that stock and customer information online.
I guess it's one of the things that COVID has shown us, that it's really valuable for us to be able to move quickly and jump into new areas. And so that whole COVID pivot is a real thing. And having software like ours, which is flexible, and a company like ours, which is, we're in the overall scheme of things, we're relatively big. And so we're able to get into this space and really help news agents evolve their businesses.
Absolutely. You look at this one, this is a news agency in Numurkah, in Victoria, I think it is. So, online they're known as this, big baby warehouse, so to speak. But I guarantee, I've never been in the business, but if I walk in there, it's probably less than 5% of the actual store. And it's sort of, they might struggle to sell baby product in store, but moving it online, it's opening them up to this whole new market for them. So we've got Chit-Chat Gifts as well, again another one connected to a news agency, and this is the one that's connected to our own news agency in Southland, I think it is, and obviously you can comment a bit more on this, but this is selling products related to cute things, and achieving additional sales for this particular store.
And these examples you've just given, these are all websites that are connected to our news agency software.
Absolutely.
So the images, the descriptions, all of that flow across directly from the news agency software. Yeah,
correct. So these images here, the web price, so you can differentiate that between your in-store price and your web price. You've got your description, and then you've got your web description as well. So all of that information is in Retailer.
Yep, excellent.
Well, I'll get to the software now. So this is essentially the home screen of the software. So this can be customized depending on either the terminal or the functionality you use. You can really simplify it for the point of sale computer. So you might just want the point of sale, the customer database, and the end of day process. So you can really limit that. And then for your back office, you can have all your favorite reports where you do your goods received and things like that as well. And then when I come into the point of sale, we've spoken about news agencies being time poor. So really simple to, transact a sale within the software. So I've got my newspapers here. I click on Herald Sun, The Age, and The Australian. I can just click on, if they give me $20, click on that. That's end of the sale. The customer's out of the store, away you go. If you wanted to sort of capture a lot more things, as far as customer data goes, and maybe offering something to potentially get them back in store and spending more with you, we've got the ability to do that as well. So you'll see here, if I sell this particular, this handbag, I think it is, or this clutch, first of all, you can have images assist you in the point of sale. And as you spoke about, these images do flow across to the website as well. So every time you update an image in here, straight away it reflects online as well. Before we end that sale, you'll see a little companion text come down. So if you do sell things that come, with packaging, I've worked in news agencies before, and sometimes it can take you about an hour trying to find a box for a particular gift. So you can put these notes here at the point of sale, just so the staff member knows exactly where to go to find that box for that particular item. All your catalogue management is run through the software as well. So multiple ways to set up all your promotional stuff. So this in particular is, hey, these teeny tires are $5.99 each. But you can say, hey, to the customer, if you buy 2 more of these, you get it at a discounted price. So as soon as I repeat that item 2 more times, you'll see that that goes purple, and that's a discounted price because it's on a promotion. So you can set up your happy hour sales, or, you know, promotions that might run for a month at a time, or depending on what it is, and you can easily turn them off and turn them on when you
Justin,
want.
I'd also say that in terms of promotions, things like the Newspower catalogues, they can be loaded automatically. Any other marketing group that provides us with catalogue data, we can load into the software without people having to type it in manually.
Exactly. And same as your back to school from GNS and things like that. Yeah. Now when I own this sale, quickly, we've got the Own Now, Pay Later integration. So, you know, Zip Pay, Hum will push the amount directly to the FBOS machine as well. But when I own this sale, I'll show you a typical receipt. I'll just expand that. So a couple of things on here. First of all, you can pass on additional information about that item. So I've got info here associated with that item, and that will print on the customer's receipt.
Right. But
you'll see here is one form of customer loyalty that the system can offer. So we do have the points-based system, but typically these vouchers are proving really popular. They're completely configurable by you. So you set up, you know, the contributions, what you want to call them. You set your own expiry dates. But the good thing about these is it's a dollar value. Everyone knows what a dollar value is. It doesn't say 4 points where you're trying to work out and do, you know, equations in your head of what 4 points is to you. Straight away, yeah, everyone knows what 375 is. And if you look at one of these reports, the discount voucher report, you'll see here that around 25% actually get redeemed on day of issue. So that tells you with an ordinary receipt, they would have walked straight out of your store and potentially never bought anything again. But you're actually getting 25% of those people do the transaction, get the receipt, see what else they can purchase within the business, and then they'll use that voucher for that purchase as well.
Right.
We've got all the data there to see exactly how they're working, you know, what times they're working, when they're working.
Yep.
And another way is, you know, I didn't assign that sale to any particular customer, but see how I've got the wording down the bottom there to say, hey, if you want to sign up and, you know, hand over your mobile number and email address, you'll get bigger rewards next time.
I've seen shoppers in, say, one of my shopping centre businesses with the discount voucher. You see them look at the voucher and then they turn back into the shop and go and buy something else. But yeah. I've also seen situations where somebody will come in with a voucher they've had for 3 or 4 weeks, and that, you know, they want to get the $2 off whatever else they want to buy.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's interesting is we certainly had people buying higher margin items and using the discount vouchers to help them buy things like magazines that they may not normally buy on a regular basis. So it certainly helps the business.
Well, that's it. You're trying to break the cycle of, you know, customers coming in, and typically with a news agency as well, they're trying to move away, not completely move away from traditional, but they're trying to break that cycle of, you know, people just buying lotto tickets and magazines and newspapers, and giving them something to spend, you know, as you said, essentially gives them permission to buy something that otherwise they wouldn't have bought otherwise.
Yeah, excellent. What else do you want to show us?
I will show you. So we spoke briefly about the e-commerce integration, but I'll quickly show you the exact data that does come across. So I'll use this particular clutch here. So first of all, you've got your web price here. You've got your images, you've got your additional information. So this is the web description and the information that shows actually on the receipt. And then it's just as simple as ticking web store items. So if that box is ticked, that flows across to the correct spot on your website. So really simple. it basically allows you to manage your website without doing much work in regards to managing stock information. So, everything that you should be doing in the point of sale today, and that's arriving your stock, updating prices, updating quantities and so forth, your website just runs off the back of that. And just on the e-commerce integration, we actually developed a tool that basically allows you to manipulate a bunch of stock at the same time. So really handy for getting things like stock items ready for online and other purposes as well. But that's using our stock manager tool. So traditionally, if you wanted to manipulate a bunch of stock items, you would have to export that into Excel, do whatever you need to do, and then re-import that back in.
But with us, you don't have to do that.
No, with us, you don't. No. So let's just say I want to get everything that has the word handbag in it, right? So so that's found, 74 records down here. So first of all, let's just say, as you know, people search by brand. If I want to buy a handbag, I'm not going to type in handbag in Google. I'm not going to type in the news agency name to find that item. I'm probably going to type in that brand of handbag that I want. So what you can do is, first of all, you can come over here and go, right, let's add the word, I don't know if this is a brand, but let's just say they're Ruby handbags. And as I go apply, you'll see here that at the click of a button that's added the word Ruby to the start of all of those descriptions. So now when people are actually searching Ruby in Google, hopefully the Google spiders are going to actually, find my website and rank my, website higher than other competitors. So really good way. You can imagine, 74 items there, going through individually and sort of adjusting those at the click of a button that, had the word to all of those items.
And look, I for people watching, I just say, you're using this example of handbags. It's interesting because handbags as a category is a rapidly growing category in news agency businesses.
Exactly.
It's fascinating how many handbags news agents are selling now.
Well, that's it. And look, I'm glad you mentioned the categories, because you'll see here that they're all in my gifts department, but they've actually got no category.
Yeah.
So again, what I can do is I can actually come over here and go, if I have a handbag category, I can easily add one, but let's just say it's a baby. As soon as I go save, all of a sudden that's put 74 records in the correct category.
Right. Nice.
And you can sort of manipulate these screens to show and hide certain information. So because I'm using this to get ready or get stock ready for online, I want to see all my online specific things. So whether it's got images, whether it's got a web store price, whether it's a web store item. So I can choose to show and hide these columns here. And that just cleans up the screen a bit and allows me to sort of easily see that information.
Okay.
News agencies are obviously known to, get really behind the certain seasons throughout the year. So Mother's Day, Father's Day, State of Origin and things like that. So what we've got is we've developed a tool, and this is a really handy tool to basically allow you to do a quick replenishment order if you did want to. So you can just choose your supplier, choose the date range of which you want data for. But the reason I mentioned those seasons was, let's just say I'm getting ready for State of Origin next year. So the football one, if you don't know what State of Origin is, being from Victoria. Let's just say I'm getting ready for State of Origin. I want to see exactly what I sold last State of Origin so I can better prepare for that particular season coming up. So if I click on this show monthly breakdown, what that will do is again, like most screens, I can manipulate what data I want to see here. But you'll see here I've got a breakdown of what I sold, particularly in those months. So you'll see here, if I come over here, I sold 7 of these in September. So that allows me to forecast, into the next year, and allows me to better prepare for those seasons. So hopefully I don't sell out of things or only get in, you spoke about suppliers oversupplying you and things like that. You've got absolute data here to say, no, I don't need that many of that item, or, I do need a heap of those items. Supply me with those.
Hey, you're using the State of Origin example, which is probably putting to sleep news agents outside of Queensland and New South Wales.
Queensland this year as well, because they lost pretty comprehensively, but that's all right.
They don't normally lose, do they?
No, they don't. No. which is
Oh, well. Okay, so I guess the key message you've got there is that any business, any news agency's business that's seasonal, we can give them access to their data in a way that reflects the seasonality of the business.
yeah, exactly. It just points to that being, better prepared for that, whether it's Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, whatever you're
Exactly.
talking of. But
I mean, you want to make sure that you're making business decisions based on facts.
yeah,
Too often as retailers, we make decisions based on gut, and you can't bank what you feel, but you can bank on the evidence that's in your point of sale software.
well, that's it. And if I didn't have this monthly breakdown, this particular item, it might say I've sold 20 of them, which I think is obviously is a popular item. 19 of those could have sold in a specific, month. So why would I have that item for all those other 11 months? So, it's a really good way of actually breaking down to see, what's selling at what specific times. And obviously I mentioned the state of origin thing. So having that data there, you can actually go one step further and actually use our marketing tools to say, all right, I've ordered all the stock for state of origin. Let's remind all the customers that are into state of origin or have purchased that in the past. So what I can do here is I can actually see who's purchased what in the past, but I could actually use the customer tags here as well. So what I can do is I can actually tag customers, let's just say state of origin. So now I can, get the system to create a list for me that's either people who've purchased state of origin stuff in the past or they're interested in state of origin, and really maximize, all that stock that they've currently ordered and get in front of those people.
Okay. All right, look, I'm just very aware of the time. This is meant to be an introductory video. Because we're going to do, I think you guys are going to do a second video that's a full-on demo of the software.
Yep.
So maybe if we jump out of that screen, from a news agency perspective, as we've said a few times, we're doing this for a long time. The critical thing about news agents and the Tower software is we link with all of the suppliers, and we do that with consistency, with certainty. So you've got your supplier linkages, but also outside of that, you've got linkages in the greater world, like you said, with Shopify, Magento, and WooCommerce, with the major banks, with Tyro, with Xero, and you've got all of these ways that news agents can run their businesses more efficiently. I guess that is important because we're seeing more news agencies run with staff rather than the owners being in the business. On top of that, we have this other flexibility in the software that helps news agents pivot and do other things, whether it's online or running a cafe or anything of that nature. And so we're a pretty flexible company from that perspective. When news agents when people buy news agency businesses and when they're possibly using other software, there's always a question about, will it do this or that in terms of what the other software does? What we know is our software really well. We know what our software can do. So if you've got things that you want to do within your business that are very specific to your business, let us know, and we can either demonstrate how we do that, or we say, hey, look, we're not the right fit for you. The reality is in the news agency channel, the majority of news agents do think we're the right fit, which is pretty good. But our news agency software doesn't stand still. Some of the stuff you've demonstrated today, for example, Justin, is fairly new in the software. And so we're releasing updates several times a year to keep the software up to date.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's based on, user feedback, but also too, we, run our own software in our own news agencies. So we're, consistently walking in the shoes of other news agencies, working out what they want out of software, because news agencies out of any industry is probably the one that's changing the most. So, walking in those shoes, sort of better prepares us for what, news agency owners want out of software.
Yeah, look, you mentioned before about the lottery integration. That was a good example. We were there with, doing that at day one. One of the other areas where we've been doing work is we've been a partner with the federal government program on the cashless welfare card. Now, I don't want to talk about the politics of it. That's a conversation for others to have. But two news agency businesses were pilot program retailers for the cashless welfare card several years ago when it first started. And so we've been a software partner with the organisation doing the work for the federal government since day one. And
Yeah.
so, we're very early to engage with and adopt anything like that gives news agents more flexibility within their businesses. It's not our job to judge these things. We just do the work and make sure the news agents, through the toolkit of the software, have got as much flexibility as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So in terms of the software itself, if somebody wants to see it, they contact you guys and you'll do a demonstration with them. My understanding is you record those demonstrations?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, proving really popular. So, they can send it off to their bookkeepers, accountants if they need to watch it. They can watch it multiple times. They're loving it.
Look, it's pretty cool because you record the demo, you give them a copy, and it means that if they've got business partners who can't be there, they can get to see what the software can do.
Yeah.
We'd love to show people the software, and we'd love to show them, particularly if they haven't looked at it in the last 12 months or so, because it's changed so much.
Yeah.
It's very fresh and has a very current look and feel to it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Justin. And,
thank you.
I hope you do better with State of Origin next year.
So do I.